Hi, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. Today we have Tom Papa with us. He is an amazing stand-up comedian. We talk about his new Netflix special, You're Doing Great. It's very motivational. It's very enjoyable. It's a very feel-good comedy special. We also talk about his love of bread, and we learn a little bit about how you make bread. This is an educational episode. And we finally crack the case on his illustrious career in B-movie. It's an important question. Everyone wants to know what it's like to be part of the meme of all memes movie, B-movie. Enjoy this episode of Not Too Deep with Tom Papa.
Not too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Tom, thank you for being here. I just watched your special. I love it.
Oh,
it's
thank you.
absolutely wonderful. It's just so pleasant
Right.
the whole time, even though you're talking about, you know, the world that we live in, that we get consumed with social media and our own, like, you know, where we're at. It's a very nice, it's almost like a life coaching session.
Yeah.
I feel like. Have you ever considered getting into the world of life coaching?
I haven't. I have been getting that response a lot to the special.
Yeah, I saw Patton Oswalt was saying that it's like a veiled pep talk the whole
Yeah.
time. And
Yeah.
that's great.
And I am pretty optimistic by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good for you. Hold
yeah.
on to that.
Yeah. And and it just kind of started coming out that way. Like as I was touring, I would tell people in the audience that they're doing great.
Yeah.
Because it really just made me think, like, people have this feeling like they're not doing enough, but that's nothing's changed other than our expectation.
Yeah.
And
true.
seeing other people's supposed lives, just this false stuff on media, and we're
curated.
Yeah, so I just started telling people, no, you realize this is as good as it gets, and you're doing pretty great.
Yeah, and that doesn't have to be a very pessimistic way to think about things.
No, right. It's not at all. It's actually, no, this is really the way it is. And
it's freeing in a way.
Yeah. So I was like, you're doing great. And people would come up to me after the shows and with all sincerity, thank me.
Really?
Like, thank you for saying that, because I've really been feeling.
Some people, you don't know that you need that little bit of encouragement sometimes.
Yeah, and for me, like performing, and you're on stage and people are applauding. People don't get applauded every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, it just kind of led that way, and it just had this. I just started thinking, you know, most comedy is very cynical and negative, and I said, well, this isn't the way this material is going, and I'm not going to alter it. I'm just going to be sincere and optimistic.
Oh, cool.
And it was kind of funny and it worked. And it was like, people really enjoy it and it's all good. But people would ask me in interviews, like, so, like, they didn't trust me because I am a comedian. They're like,
when's the other shoe going to drop?
You really mean we're not doing great, right?
Yeah.
You really mean the world is not. So, but I really was sincere. And I think it's a weird thing today.
It is a weird, like, level of trust with someone, especially a comedian, that you're like, where's the sarcasm here? Yeah. Where's the actual, like, doomsday mantra going right now? But that's nice. So you kind of let it evolve organically, just based on, like, the feedback and the feelings.
And I just kept going with it, and then it kind of just started to set in a certain way, and then and it's only after it's come out that like you're back to your original question, which I didn't even answer. Is I've never thought of being a life coach.
Okay.
I can't
Now's the
be.
time.
I can't be a life coach, but I do feel like a little bit of a bit of a know-it-all. Like, I consider myself like in this realm. I kind of feel like, yeah, you should probably listen to me rather than the person telling you to give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially because you talk so much about social media, and it's the world that we live in, and you're so inundated with messages all day long, like you say in the special too, of people being like, get out there and fucking kill it today.
Yeah.
When you don't necessarily, like, that's an insincere kind of motivation, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm also curious about, because you talk so much about social media, what is your relationship with social media? Because you've been on Twitter since 2007.
Yeah.
That's not bonkers.
Yeah, but not really like that active, I guess.
Yeah.
Like no, it is kind of, it's weird that it started that long ago.
Also, that's to hear like that it's been over a decade that Twitter has existed. I feel like it was yesterday that I saw Michael Ian Black using it for the first time. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, we're supposed to do this now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy it, but I don't digest a lot of it.
That's healthy, I
I
think.
don't go through. I made a decision like I don't know, maybe 3 years ago that I'm not going through the feed on
Oh,
Twitter.
good for you.
So excuse me, I'll go through my mentions
Uh-huh.
and messages, but I have, and I. It's weird. It wasn't like quitting smoking or something. I just said
Right.
I don't do that anymore,
Uh-huh.
and I don't. I just don't go through so I don't see the chatter
That's
of all the
nice.
stuff. And talking to my friends that do,
Yeah.
I can tell they're like kind of like shaky and frazzled,
Uh-huh.
and I just don't do that, and it made it so much better.
Yeah.
And when this special came out, it was so overwhelmingly positive.
Mhm.
The reaction was so positive that for the first time I was like, I'm gonna check my mentions. Man,
Yeah.
it's good to look at people's comments
Yeah.
because they were all, it was just love, love,
Oh,
love.
that's great.
So it was really cool.
That's all I was going to ask, like, the
stuff,
feedback.
I'm also very sensitive to it all.
Are you?
Yeah. So like when people make comments
Mhm.
that are negative, they do rattle in my head for a bit,
Mhm.
as I think probably all of us. But for me, I just know that I'm not. I take it all very personally. And like
Hmm.
if people were to misinterpret something I said on a podcast or something and come at me and it really like it took me a while to be like, just don't respond and just blow it
Yeah.
off. I really was like, no, don't you understand? I was trying to say this. And I realized they're not
Right.
acting with that much
They've moved on
sincerity. Yeah,
already.
yeah. So why am I kind
Yeah.
of hung up on it? But I
It's a
think
lot.
that's why I started talking about it in the act, is that I do feel like we are the first human beings that have had to deal with
Yeah.
this mental thing at every level. I've got kids, I've got friends, myself. It is something that has to kind of be managed because it's, the mental thing is how we run our lives, and
Mhm.
it's affecting it for sure.
Yeah, and there's no blueprint to the effects, the long-term and short-term effects of
Yeah.
all of this social media on us. We're kind of experiencing it in real time right now.
Yeah. And then for it being super positive, and I think it's so great to see different groups and different cultures and everybody, like we're able
Mhm.
to like relate to each other in a new way. And
Yeah.
there's just so much that's positive, but then there's a darkness that also intercedes. And I think that I just am very conscious of trying to manage it, and
Yeah.
and looking at like my kids and trying to manage it for them, and
Because how old are your kids?
14 and 17.
Oh, so they're in that sweet spot of the social media being
Yeah.
their, life force.
Completely.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I know exactly when they walk into the room, I know if they've been on their phone or not.
Really?
100%. They just come in and they're bleary eyed and they're kind of like catatonic, and something just happened that you don't know what. And then other times they just walk in and you know that they haven't been on their phone.
There's
They're
a
just
lightness.
and they're
Yeah.
talking to you, and
Yeah.
they're just like, they're present.
Uh-huh.
So it's a heavy thing. It's
Yeah.
not, it's a lot of jokes made about it, but it really is a heavy mental thing.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to find what works for you,
But I think it's great. It's a nice like breath of fresh air because you're not sugarcoating anything.
Mhm.
You're calling things as they are.
Yeah.
But you're also reminding people that nothing really matters. None of this really matters.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
And it's important to hear that. So the feedback has been very positive, has been very sincere.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of really heartfelt messages or people coming up to you after shows?
Yeah, no, and on social media too, people after shows for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what's cool about that is it's just, I've been around enough where people like come up and they're like, you got me through this really hard time.
Mm.
Or, we had this, I mean, and the tragedies are, profound.
Yeah.
And to know that like somebody was watching my special over and over and over again, this is even before this one, like in the hospital while they were like, you know what I mean? Like
Wow.
you're always caught up in what am I doing with my career?
Sure.
Where is it going? And how, all that kind of stuff. And then there is that real sincere again thing that like, no, this woman, my jokes got her through this worst time in her life kind of
Yeah.
a thing, which is really crazy to digest.
Powerful.
Yeah. And now I'm getting all of these messages saying, I needed to hear this in this special. I needed to hear this message now because my kid is sick. I lost my job. My
Wow.
parents just just moved away. Like all this like long list of, and you can tell like some of them are,
Right.
there's that thing on all of our devices. Like if the message is 6 inches long, you're like, okay, this
is a real.
this is either crazy or this is really
Yeah,
heartfelt.
yeah.
You
Those
know?
are the two options.
Yeah. And that is something, honestly, I didn't take lightly. I don't take lightly being able to laugh and have a good time and what that does for us.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't really anticipate the impact of it.
Yeah, it's hard to project, what could be people's, interpretations of this. And you mentioned that you're like sensitive to the feedback that
Yeah.
when it comes in that sincere and that sort of like with gravitas that
Right.
there's probably for you, like it hits you in a very powerful way.
Yeah, it does. And in the negative way and the positive way.
Mhm.
So and then I always feel bad when they ask for like a picture. Can you just sign a picture? I'm like, this isn't the 70s. I don't have like a stack of
You
shots.
don't have your headshots, your glossy
I
black and
know.
white headshots at the ready for them.
I know. I feel bad. Like I gotta get some shots or something.
Well, I'm also from New Jersey originally.
Right.
So it was a point to record this special in New Jersey.
Mhm.
Why? Just because it's, a place near and dear to your heart, obviously.
Yeah, this is my 4th one, and I'd never shot it I've been in New York and other places, but I was like consciously wanted to do it in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I just felt like the timing was right, and I do still really have an affection for the state.
Yes.
And Newark is like
It was in Newark that you
It was in
shot?
Newark,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Cool.
and it's just, New Jersey has this long list of beautiful legendary cities that are really bombed out
Yeah.
through corruption, horrible governance of the people, and there's all these good people in all of these places really trying to do stuff and bring them back, like Passaic and Patterson and Trenton and
Right.
Camden, and it's ridiculous that these great places this far from New York
Yeah.
are just like struggling and bombed out. And my sister runs this nonprofit in Clifton, which is kind of like where the Giants play around there, converting all of these abandoned farmlands in northern New Jersey. It was the Garden State,
Right.
and she's found all these abandoned farms and she's converting them and bringing people in from schools, and these kids
Wow.
have learning gardens, and it's like these small efforts
Yeah, it's beautiful.
that are really having an impact. And I feel like there's some success stories like Jersey City or Asbury Park where they were in the same state, the same condition, and people went in and got motivated and changed it. And now Asbury Park is back to what it was like in the 40s, which is this great, beautiful
Thriving.
place with Victorian homes
Oh,
on
nice.
the water. And it's just like an amazing thing. So anyway, that's I felt like anytime we can kind of shine a light on those
Yeah.
places and then have the opportunity to talk about it, I think felt like the right move.
That's great.
Yeah.
This is your sister that's doing these gardens and this whole
Yeah.
give
City
back.
Green. It's called City Green.
Do you feel inadequate to your sister doing that sort of work?
I do. I do, because it's a nonprofit. I mean, as much as I like making people feel nice and giving a positive message to the world, I want a nice car. And
right. I will make you laugh and feel good for a price.
Yeah. Where's the check?
Yeah.
No, I do. But she is a deeper moral character than I do.
That's great. Good
Yeah,
for her.
yeah.
She's doing it. Wait, and I
Yeah.
read that your brother's a sportscaster.
No.
No.
That's
Well,
not
then
my brother.
The internet is spreading a lot
I
of
know.
false information.
I think that's a new thing, because I've been asked that a couple times.
It's also such a strange factoid to be false under your name.
I know, but for years people asked, "Are you related to Bob Papa?" And there's another, I think like Greg Papa or something, who is another sportscaster. And for years people would just ask, "Are you related?" And now people are saying definitively, "So you're brothers?"
Yeah, Wikipedia has created this relationship for you.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, I don't know him. I have an Uncle Bob, but he's not in broadcasting. He's in Florida
Still time. There's
playing golf.
still
No, there's not much time.
He's still in the sports game, though.
Not a lot of time.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What's it like, touring so much? I ask all the stand-ups this because I'm always so curious. It is such a bizarre life that you guys have. show to show, state to state, like city
Yeah.
to city. Do you enjoy it still? I mean, you've been doing this for so long.
I really enjoy it. And it's interesting. I never really thought it was weird.
Really?
Yeah, until very, very recently.
Oh, wow.
I was in a hotel somewhere in the middle of the winter, like near Fargo or something. And I'm
Sure.
in this, there's not a lot of people like checking into this hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm just laying on this, it just hit me like, look at where you are. Just like, which I never do. I just go,
You
know?
reflected for a
I
moment?
reflected for a moment. And I'm like, there's a funny lamp and a weird window and this heater's making a strange noise. And my kids are 3,000 miles away. What are you doing exactly?
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
It
hits
is
you.
weird. But, the whole thing is like standing up in front of a crowd
Yeah.
and being the one person talking. That's weird.
Very strange.
There's a lot. You really can't kind of. My motto is don't do the math
Yeah.
on anything.
Yeah.
How old are you? How long have you been together? How
Taxes.
long have you been doing this
Yeah.
podcast? How long? Yeah, don't add up all the stuff because it's too daunting.
Yeah.
Just kind of live in the moment and keep going. But every once in a while, of course, I naturally do the math.
Sure.
And when I was doing that, just like, yeah, this is a weird thing, but I do really, really enjoy it. Like,
Yeah. Do you write on planes?
I write a lot on planes.
Oh, that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
that feels like a flying think tank.
Yeah, as long as it's not too rough of a ride.
Yeah.
The turbulence can mess up a plan of, I've had a lot of writing in the last like 3-4 years
Uh-huh.
where I just have these radio shows and these books and
Right.
the stand up and all this stuff. So I haven't seen a movie on a plane in like 3 years.
Wow.
Because it's just every time I have a moment, I can open up a laptop and keep writing.
And go. Well, that's what I was gonna. You produce so much content.
Yeah.
Right? Your stand up, your radio shows, the special, your YouTube channel, everything. Do you ever take a break? Like, and do any sort of like, I'm not gonna put things out into the world right now.
Yeah, well, no.
No.
I mean, it's not as much like I have to put out every day, but
Mhm.
but I'm always creating every day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm always writing for something that's going to come out or writing for
Mhm.
something. But no, I don't. I was actually at the supermarket the other day
Uh-huh.
and I cook a lot, so I know everyone there. And
Right.
the cashier said she had a day off tomorrow, and it's been like 8 days. She goes, "When is your day off? Are you weekends? Are you? When is your day off?" And I
Uh-huh.
was like, and again, like the moment in the hotel, like, oh, huh, I haven't thought about that.
Curious question.
I don't have those.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
realized I don't have
Wow.
those, and even on a day that that I think is going to be a day off, I crave them.
Uh-huh.
But I will have done a morning radio show and then
Right.
wrote a little something. The problem is, and it's not a problem, but
Mhm.
the reality is, I enjoy it.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
It's
I feel
not-
like if you are getting actual like enjoyment and pleasure out of the thing
Yeah.
you're doing, then why would you sit and reflect on how many days in a row you've been working?
What am I gonna?
Yeah.
I enjoy sitting and writing so much more than sitting and doing nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
To-
Yeah.
Really, to try and sit there,
Yeah.
and get through a show, or I don't.
It's too much.
It's too much.
It's who's got the time?
I know.
Not here.
I
not now.
literally I interviewed an actor for on Better Call Saul,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I felt bad because I'd like to be, you want to be
Prepared, yeah.
prepared, at least be able to fake it,
Right.
and I have not seen that show. I love Breaking Bad, and I
Uh-huh.
saw maybe one of Better Call Saul,
Yeah.
and I have not seen that show. And I'm like, I really should see it, and it's 4 seasons in, and I'm
Yep.
like, that is a lot of hours that I would have to peel
Yeah.
out of my life. Like, I want to see the
Yeah, your intentions are good.
Yeah.
But the execution is just daunting.
I was like, I am watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's about comedy. I know Kevin Pollak. I have to
Yeah.
watch this show.
Yeah.
And I opened my laptop. I got through 20 minutes. I'm like, what am I doing? I've got stuff to do.
I have other things to do.
Yeah. I know.
Gosh, I know. Who's got the time? That I haven't started either of those shows.
You
either.
haven't either.
No, occasionally when we have guests on here that are, from TV or film,
Yeah.
I do the like
The
Fingers
quick.
crossed YouTube search for someone that's put a cut down together
Oh,
of like
that's smart.
of like here's what you missed the first season or first
That's
4 seasons.
really smart.
So there's a life hack for you. If you
Yeah,
need it in
that's
the
a great
future.
hack. Oh my God.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, I want to get into the whole cooking side of things. I'm fascinated by this.
Okay.
I got to know if you're in the Food Network family now, because
Okay.
it seems like a very illustrious like fraternity that
Yeah.
I want to be part of. We'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Did you know that there's a company that's mastered the science of sparkle? Meet Lightbox lab-grown diamonds. They hacked a billion-year process to grow stunning lab-grown diamond stones in about 2 weeks, and they're some of the highest quality stones that exist. They're always near colorless, always VS clarity, always a very good cut, and always $800 per carat. They come in 3 colors too: white, blush pink, and soft blue. After they're grown in the lab, they're transformed into gorgeous lab-grown diamond jewelry. It's beauty meets brain. Go to lightboxjewelry.com/grace and use code GRACE for $25 off. That's lightboxjewelry.com/grace. Use code GRACE for $25 off. Okay, let's talk about the baking, the cooking, the food of it all. How and where did this start for you? Have you always just been interested in that world?
I've always been interested in cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I come from an Italian family
Okay.
in New Jersey, and everybody, that's kind of the way that we bond.
Right,
is
right.
through food and making it for each other and eating it. And so I've always been, and my mother's a great cook, and my grandmothers were, or one was better than the other. But so I've always been into it. And baking, I always thought was something that was too precise.
Yeah, it is very, it's intimidating to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's not a lot of room for failure.
Not a lot of room for failure or creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And but then a friend of mine taught me, or just talked about, we were on a TV show together writing, and he told me about making sourdough bread and the sourdough starter, which I'd never heard of before. It's
Sure.
like this living organism that is basically the wheat that, do you know this
I
yeast
feel like
thing?
I've heard about this before, but I don't know the dynamics of it.
It's like flour and water
Uh-huh.
go into a bowl, and then the yeast that's around us, just floating around, go in and eat it.
Okay.
And it starts to become this bubbly little mass.
Wow.
And then it becomes this bacteria in this organism. And that's like where the first yeast came from.
Wow.
So that's what people put into bread. And then instead of this flat, just flour and water
Right.
matzah, it became bread. And so it's a science fiction kind of thing. I didn't know there was yeast flying
Yeah.
around us. I didn't know any of this.
Right. You make that sound very like dangerous and fun.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
like mad scientist.
Right. And I told that story at my dinner table, and my daughter for Christmas started a starter for me.
That's very
On the
sweet.
sly. She's like, yeah. And then my friend Max Werner, who's this great writer, he gave me some of his starter, and I just started messing around with it.
Wow.
And it's baking, but it's more like cooking. Like there is room for error. Like you have to be pretty precise about some of it, but there is also this more artistic kind of room for it, I guess.
Okay.
And I just got obsessed with it. I don't know
Really?
what it was, but it just kind of clicked in. And I couldn't believe I was making these beautiful
From your own
breads.
hands.
Yeah, like this. It was insane. I was
Out
like,
of literally thin air.
yeah, and it literally, and it was this great bread, and it was better for us. And
Wow.
it was just, I started to really go down this wormhole, and I started to like compare these breads to what was being eaten by myself and my family our entire lives from the
Right.
supermarket that we thought was really good bread that
Yeah.
had like a wooden carved sign on the label,
Yeah,
and country
yeah,
wheat,
yeah.
and seeing that it was filled with sugar and all these preservatives, and I just got so excited about it. And I couldn't believe also that we were the first generation that wasn't allowed to eat bread. That made no sense to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why, after thousands of years, we show up and we're not allowed to eat bread, and people are suffering from gluten and
Yeah.
sugar, weight, and all that. I'm like, something's wrong. And when I started making this flour, water, salt, and yeast
That's
4
it.
ingredients. That's all that goes into real bread. I was like, I just got hooked on it. I knew
Wow.
it was a good thing to bring into the world. So
Uh-huh.
I just kept going. And then I would visit bakeries and I would learn how to do it. I would just kind of like, I wouldn't go in the back and like make them teach me, but I
Yeah.
would see what flour they were using. I would strike up conversations, start following them on Instagram, any kind of
There you
like
go.
obsession that you
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And it just became a huge part of, and still a huge part of my life. I just do it all the time, and I
Yeah.
keep trying to get better at it, and I still fail. I had a disaster yesterday that
Oh,
came out like
no.
a hockey puck, and
Well, that's is that part of the appeal though? Is that you never know what the end product is going to actually turn out like?
yeah, it is very analogous to comedy where you can get really good at it.
Yeah.
It is a craft. You can get really good at it, but that doesn't mean that there's not trouble waiting for you around the
Right.
corner. Like, you really
Yeah.
could be a horrible night. Even as
Yeah.
good as you are, it could be horrible. And it's very similar. And but it's just this great added thing, and it's really kind of
Do
took off.
you get into like the Great British Baking
Yeah,
Show?
I
That
do
sort of
like
thing?
watching that. Yeah.
Mary Berry, Paul Hollywood, all of the hits.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm obsessed. I love them very much. Bread
Such a
Week is
good
my
one.
favorite week on Great British Bake Off or Great British Baking Show.
I didn't even know they had that.
Oh, get into it.
Oh, yeah?
You'll love it.
Bread Week?
Yeah,
Ooh, boy.
every season there's a Bread Week, and it is one of my favorites.
Oh man, I'm
'cause
gonna look that up.
there are some masterpieces and there are some real disasters.
Yeah.
And it is heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and I just like the pace of that. It's so
Ugh.
different than American shows.
Yes, the drama that
Mhm.
happens, quote unquote,
Yeah.
is so peaceful and so handled immediately.
kind.
Yeah.
I know. Then you go over to the Food Network and they're like in your face, like
It's
you
this Guy
suck.
Fieri
and-
being like,
I
ah,
know.
screaming and
Quick
lighting everything on
cuts.
fire.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh yeah, it really drives me crazy.
But you had a show on Food Network.
I did. It was called Baked.
Yeah.
And they caught wind of my habit of touring around the country and visiting bakeries, and they thought, let's make that into a show.
Yeah.
So it was a natural fit. It was just like this really cool thing to do, and visiting these bakers. I mean, they're some of the greatest people you can meet. You know,
Right.
I
And
would
aren't
always-
their hours are
they're
bonkers,
insane. They
right?
work really hard.
Yeah.
Any kind of like little daydream I would have of opening a bakery was like, no way.
They're up at like 3 a.m. or something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, like you walk into a place and you see like a case filled with pastries and all this.
Right.
I always thought in my head, those are just always there.
yeah.
And now I'm meeting these people that are making those every day. It was like, this is hard work.
Yeah.
But most of it comes from love. Like they got into it. A lot of people left other careers or they did it through their family just for the love of it.
Yeah.
And that really separates the ones that are mediocre to the great ones, literally in the taste of whatever they're making.
Wow.
The heart and soul is something really, really palpable. It's real. And so I would meet these people and it was really fun. We did one season of it and it was really well received. People were really into it, but they just kind of buried it when it came out. And they put it like on Labor Day night at 10 o'clock at night.
Hot spot.
Labor Day night. And you know what's so funny? I've had shows that have been, derailed or whatever before. And how they're telling you with all sincerity, no, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
Really? When everyone's driving home on Labor Day night at 10 o'clock
the
at
day
night.
everyone has off of work and they're seeing fireworks somewhere. The one time no one's watching television. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. What an honor.
I know. Oh, I stand corrected. And and then the next one was like the Emmys.
Oh, perfect.
It was like literally
Oh,
really bad. So I don't know what went down, but I have an inkling that this was the only travelogue show
Okay.
on Food Network. Everything's competitions now, except for Guy Fieri's Empire.
Yeah.
And and there's some reason why that is the most popular show on the network.
Yeah.
And there's no duplicates of that show on the network. There's literally no. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy
thought about that
guy.
before. Fascinating.
But why?
Have you met Guy?
I did meet Guy.
How was that experience?
He was a very nice guy. This is way before I baked bread.
Okay.
And I had some other show that was on the air at the time, and we were at the gate at an airport, and struck up a conversation. And I think we were at some same NBC event or
Okay.
something. And yeah, very nice guy. But
Yeah.
I know he's motivated. I know he.
Yeah.
It's slash and burn with people with competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it was him, but somebody
There are
somewhere
some question marks.
didn't
All right.
want bakeries, bagels, and dives on the air.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. It was too beloved.
And now every time you go to the Burbank airport, you get to see that Guy Fieri little pop-up restaurant.
funny you
just
say that.
smacking you in the face.
It's so funny. I literally saw that the other day.
Did you?
I was going up to Seattle last weekend. I'm like, this is where I have to get coffee. Fire and flames.
Oh, it was so great. I went with a friend to the Guy Fieri restaurant in Times Square one time for like a fun, thing.
Yeah.
And they were actually closing like 2 days later.
Oh, really?
And first of all, the place is monstrous. It's
Yeah.
like 3 weird scattered floors. How
Yeah.
they pay that rent blows my mind. But our server was like, yeah, we're shutting down in 2 days. There was just garbage everywhere. Like no one was cleaning any tables. And he just had an entire bottle of Sky vodka in his like coat with him. He's like, we're all like basically looting the restaurant because we didn't find out till yesterday.
Oh my God.
Insane. I was like, this is perfect. This is
Yeah.
enhancing and elevating my experience
Yeah.
right now. Thank you.
So much better than if everything was going all right.
Oh, so great. Well, rest in peace to
So
your-
rest in peace. But so many people were hitting me up forever to ask how it was done.
right.
How do you make it? How do you do it? You've inspired me. That people
Yeah.
were like really like wanting to get into it. So I just started posting stuff on YouTube showing
Mhm.
people how to do it. And, just to kind of keep that part of
Yeah.
the thing going. And it's funny, like they ran the show again on cooking. We're like, maybe it is coming back and maybe it's not. And I didn't really want to spend any of my show business anxiety on a baking show. I didn't.
On the thing that was bringing you joy and
Totally.
like a meditative like hobby to
Yes.
have.
Exactly. I'm like, I really want things to go in my career.
Yeah.
This is like, if it happens, it happens.
Sure.
But then after doing it and meeting all these people and having the response, I was like, they made me want it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it, now it's just like getting a sitcom on the air.
Yeah.
And my daughter said something in her 16-year-old wisdom was, I just feel like you're going to do this show eventually, and it might not be for 15 years, but
yeah.
you're not stopping and it's just going. Doesn't matter if it's this year or not. And I
Right.
was like, wow, that
Wow.
makes perfect sense.
Wow. She threw your own sort of like wisdom back at you.
She totally did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she totally did. And I'm like, yeah, so I'll just put them on YouTube.
How's
That's the
that
other
been?
thing, as you know.
Yeah.
You don't need to take meetings and get networks to say yes to you if you want to
No.
make something these days. You just make it.
You can just make it. Anyone can make anything.
Anything, yeah.
Literally anything. It's overwhelming.
It really it is.
It's,
It is. So I don't know how many people are watching it, but I just put it up like a week ago.
Cool.
And I'll just do it there.
Yeah. Then you have the freedom. You're not waiting for execs to call you and tell you which award show night you're gonna air.
And you can watch it on Labor Day night, or
There
you
you
can
go.
watch it the next night.
You can watch it on your phone while you're at the bar for Labor Day.
That's
at the same
right.
time. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Screw you, Food Network.
How do you have 2 daughters?
Yes.
How do they feel about their dad being you?
I think they like it. I think they like that they like that I'm funny and it's a funny house.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I mean?
That
Like,
they genuinely think you're funny.
yeah.
That's
I
great.
can make them laugh, which is good.
That's great.
Not all the time. My younger one, she's kind of funny in a adult kind of way.
Okay.
Like, like a little cutting and a little, she doesn't, she's not doing it for approval
Right,
kind of a thing.
right.
And if she wants to really like burn me a little bit, she'll hear me making a joke to somebody in the other room and she'll just go, ha, jokes.
Oh, that cuts deep. Oh, it's hurtful.
Brutal, yeah. But I like it so much.
Are
But
they?
yeah, but I think they get it. They like as the older they get, they realize this isn't kind of like a normal life. I
Okay.
think they kind of appreciate carving out a different path than a lot of the other dads.
Yeah.
I think they dig that. I think they like if I can get them close to something that they enjoy.
Right. If you can be a link somehow.
Yeah, like I might have an in to get to one of RuPaul's brunch things.
Wow, that's a major hookup.
Major hookup. Major hookup. My daughter is going to be so pleased with that. My stand-up special, they
Couldn't give
haven't
a
seen
shit.
it. I don't think they're not interested. They haven't read my book. There's no. But if I can get them to RuPaul or
but Drag Race.
they met Miley Cyrus once, it's like
Wow.
then I get
That
cred.
legitimizes your career in their eyes.
100%.
Yes. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Now, how do you decide with, books, stand up, everything? Where do you decide what stories or commentary you want to make goes into what? Do you kind of like take stock of that? Or
Of what? Of where?
Of like where you put things?
Whether this is a joke for the actor
Yeah.
or something for the book or.
Yeah.
I don't. It's kind of, I kind of feel like it all feeds each other.
Okay.
There are certain things don't really translate that well, like written. Like I'll write things
Right.
for Live From Here, which is this what Prairie Home Companion used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Live From Here now. That's an NPR show that runs every week, and I do these monologues on it called Out in America.
Yeah.
And there are, it's basically 7 minutes of stand up.
Mm-hmm.
About me traveling and trying to shine a light on all the good people in America.
Right.
And it's interesting because it'll do really well when I'm there. But for some reason, like you can't just pull those jokes out and put them in the act.
Right.
You can get like an idea, but that for some and similarly, things from my act don't necessarily they'll go into a book or a written form, but that's so abbreviated and cut down that it has to be expanded.
Right.
And put in a.
So it's just they're different mediums, even though they're all under the same umbrella.
Did everything just get louder? Oh, that's so
Oh,
funny.
yeah, you have a volume button right there.
I know. I was like, there's no volume button. I didn't touch the button. But all of a sudden you got so loud. And I was looking at your eyes like, am I having a stroke? Why are you not reacting?
I was like, I don't know. I have no help medically for you, whatever you're experiencing right now.
Would that be funny if I just all of a sudden got it in the middle of the interview?
Yeah, it would be, for me, honestly, the highest viewed podcast that we've had.
Aren't you waiting for that, though?
I mean, I hope every time that someone has a medical malfunction, every podcast, fingers crossed. Okay, back to bread a little bit. Is it, in your expert opinion, okay to pick mold off of a piece of bread and eat it?
Oh, it's interesting.
Or is that a complete taboo?
I think it's probably okay.
Okay.
I think it's more okay for cheese.
Yes.
For bread, it depends how much. because like I'll see mold on bread.
Right.
And my eyes aren't that great. So I'll see mold on bread and then think it's off and then think, what else am I not seeing?
Right.
What's more microscopic? It's got to be all through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
You can probably, why do you ask?
I haven't done it recently. I'm just curious because I have done the thing where I've bought a loaf of bread in like the expectation that I'm going to like make sandwiches for myself. It doesn't happen. Bread sits there and then like a piece at the end will collect mold. And I sometimes feel a little bad throwing the entire thing away.
Right.
And I didn't know if you had knowledge in the bread world that I didn't know about, if that's like actually no problem.
No, this is no knowledge, pure instinct. I'd say throw it out.
Okay.
Don't feel bad. There's more bread out there.
Good to know. B movie.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of one of the most memed movies that's
crazy.
ever been created. How has that been to be part of such a legacy?
What's really so funny?
No one saw it coming.
What's so hilarious is we did that movie, and my older daughter was probably 5, and she got to go to the premiere. We wear a little V thing. And it was like perfect timing.
Very sweet.
And then I literally didn't even know it was a meme craze.
Yeah.
And probably 2 years into it being, and my daughters were just like, "Hey, that thing is everywhere." And I was like, "What?" Because they have a poster down in the playroom, and they know that I'm one of the bees. But they literally, this is how disconnected they are from any of the career kind of stuff. Yeah. It really had been going on for a couple of years, and I had no clue. And I'm like, why? Why is this hitting? She goes, I don't know. Just something about like a bee having a sexual relationship with a woman is it's a weird movie.
The people have to comment on it.
Yeah.
They can't get over it.
I know. And so I try and squeeze a little of that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it blows my mind. It's who knows how memes work and why. But congratulations on being part of one of the great ones.
How do I turn it to how do I get anything out of it?
I mean, bee merch
right?
at shows, sell some stuff afterwards.
I guess, yeah. I haven't even posted like a picture of me as the bee. Even
Really?
Yeah.
Now's the time. Bring it back. Filter it into the
rotation.
rotation.
Is the craze over?
I feel like you can resurrect it if it is. Yeah. I feel like everyone's waiting for someone to get the bee movie meme going again.
All right, I'll try.
When was the last time you got a parking ticket?
Well, a parking ticket? Parking ticket, a little while. I haven't gotten a parking ticket, but I got a toll ticket.
Oh, yeah. That got like mailed to you afterwards?
Yeah.
That's always, I don't like that. There's something very targeted about that.
Totally. There wasn't even an option. Yeah. Like I couldn't even, I just had to go through.
Yeah, there's no option. I mean, I know it's my fault at the end of the day.
Is it? What, because you didn't buy a thing to stick in your car? I didn't know it was going this way.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and there's not enough notification beforehand, not enough warning to let me know that I need change or cash, or you guys got to get debit card machines or something.
Yeah, there's not even a little man in a house with some change.
I need to speak to the manager and he's not there.
Yeah. But parking, that's interesting. Oh, no, I did get a parking ticket. I would say about 8 months ago in
Good for you.
In like Beverly Hills, and I just parked and didn't go to the valet.
Yeah.
And then went in, and when we came out, the guy I was meeting with went to the valet, and my thing had a ticket on it. And
wow. So the valet
the valet kind of thought, yeah, the valet was like, yeah,
that one.
Yeah. It's on you, pal.
Wow. Oh, I've never heard of that.
I know. He could have just waved me. I was just confused. I didn't
know that was a possibility in LA.
I know.
What else do we have to deal with? The world is falling apart. It's against us.
We're going to be fine.
Okay, we're going to take one last break. When we get back, I have a bunch of Twitter questions that have been submitted for you. So we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep. With Grace Helbig.
Do you have a bunch of stuff lying around the house that you just don't use? A kid's baseball glove that no longer fits? That pair of jeans you wore that one time? An old phone hiding in a drawer somewhere? Well, there's an app you can use to sell this stuff, and it's called Mercari. Mercari is a selling app that makes it fast and easy to sell almost anything. It couldn't be simpler. You just take a few pictures of your stuff, you add a description, and boom, your item is listed. Then once it's sold, Mercari emails you a shipping label, and you just stick it on and send it off. There's no meetups, there's no hassles. With millions of people using the Mercari app in all 50 states, stuff really sells. The app has over 500,000 reviews on the App Store with an average 4.8 star rating. So why not give it a try? Don't let that stuff you don't use go to waste. Sell it, ship it, and get paid with Mercari. You can find Mercari on the app stores or on Mercari.com. That's Mercari. Mercari, the selling app.
Not too deep.
Obviously, we all know that life is stressful and difficult, and we could all use some help sometimes, but we may not know how or where to ask for it, and that's where BetterHelp comes in. Their online counseling offers licensed counselors who specialize in issues including depression and anxiety, as well as complicated relationships, family relationships, sleeping, grief, stress, trauma, and anger. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions with your therapist, plus securely exchange unlimited messages. Simply fill out a questionnaire to help them assess your needs, get matched with a counselor, and start communicating in under 24 hours. And if for any reason you are unhappy with your counselor, you can easily request a new therapist at any time for no additional charge. Get professional help when you want it, wherever it's most convenient. And Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig listeners will get 10% off their first month with discount code GRACE. That's betterhelp.com/grace. Why not get help? betterhelp.com/grace. Okay, we are back. And before we get into these Twitter questions, I'm going to ask you the two questions I ask every single guest that has been on the podcast. The first is, who, alive or dead, would you most want to throw cold spaghetti at?
Ooh, Alive or dead
Yes.
that I would like to throw cold spaghetti at. I would throw it at Sean Hannity.
Oh, okay. We
Yeah.
haven't had that as an answer, so
Yeah.
thank you. And why?
I just feel like he's a liar.
Okay.
I don't care what side you're on, even if you're like a real Republican
Yeah.
or a real Democrat. It's just like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
And he's inciting people. I don't like people that make other people unhappy and insightful and based on lies.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
That I value and appreciate.
Cold spaghetti for a liar.
Yeah. Those are the rules.
Yeah.
The other question is to tell us your worst or most memorable pants shitting story, but you can only use 3 words or 3 small phrases. So mine is college, jogging, front lawn.
Got it. Grandma, card game, swimming pool.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a fun 4th of July.
I never saw that bathing suit again.
Oh, for good reason. For good reason. Okay, let's get into these questions submitted via Twitter, a platform that you don't like to engage so
Yeah.
deeply into. Nicole wants to know, what experiences from your career would you use as advice for those wanting to get into comedy? I'm sure you get the advice question all the time.
Yeah. I guess the best advice would be, I don't know if it's the best, but it's the best at this moment, is find a comedian that you respect
Mm.
and hang around them.
Okay.
Like if there's a club where you're starting to try it out,
Yeah.
and just find people who you like and you think are funny
Mm-hmm.
and get to know them and hang around, because there's very few people that can show you, like,
Right.
I could say write more or
Sure.
do this or whatever, but it's a life kind of
Well,
thing.
that's the interesting thing in stand-up. I know it a little bit from the outside looking in at it, but there is a very I don't know what the right phrase is for it, but a lot of people take people under their wings. There's a
Mhm.
lot of mentorship, it seems, that
Yeah.
happens in the community, whether it's organic or kind of chosen in a way.
Yeah, and it's a very odd thing that only certain people really, really understand.
Yeah.
So
Is that still happening in the
yeah,
stand-up space
always,
too? Always? Okay.
always. Everyone needs an opening act.
Yes, true.
Right?
Very true.
And the opening act is usually someone who really wants to do it and is
Yeah.
learning. So it's the kind of that mutual thing.
Hmm.
And somebody did it for you.
Right.
You do it for them. And it's not selfish. It's not purely the opposite of selfish.
Selfless.
It's not. Yeah, it's not selfless. It's thank you. It's you're around with somebody who's funny and
Right.
and they're helping your shows, and but yeah, get around people who you really respect and like, and soak it all in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great advice. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of focus on, create your content, do your work right, do all of that. But a lot of
Yeah.
it is being right place, right time, or around the right, motivating voices.
It's confusing. It's so
Yeah.
to have somebody that's gone down the road already
Mm-hmm.
is very, very helpful.
Do you notice any major differences? I'm sure there's a lot from when you started versus, present day people
Yeah.
getting into the space more.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff. There's definitely a lot more places to do it.
Right.
It's not so rigid
Hmm.
in who's doing it, where they're doing it,
Yeah.
how they're doing it. Stand up has become like music in that there's classical and there's alternative, and it's so varied now.
Their
Where
genres have expanded,
which is
yeah.
great. So you can kind of pick, certain people think that, oh, so and so does this, but that's not comedy. That's like a one man show, or that's or that's not comedy. That's like prop stuff or whatever. But it's all comedy.
Yeah.
And now it's all being accepted, and all these audiences are able to pick who they like and create their little army of fans
Right.
and follow that person. So that's really cool. The one negative of that span of it
Mm-hmm.
is that you can just play to your like-minded group
Mm-hmm.
and just play there and not be able to make everybody laugh.
Right.
And
right.
I come from the time when you just were thrown into bars where
Yeah.
they weren't expecting comedy,
Right.
or sent to a nursing home,
Yeah.
or sent to the deep South, or sent to rich people in New England, and you had to make all of them laugh equally.
Yeah.
And there's a power to that.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
a skill
You
set.
have to get really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back, of course, your group who likes you, if it's families or if it's young women or whatever,
Right.
they'll like you more,
Right.
but you're able to be liked by all of them.
Yeah.
That to me is the goal, is to be purely funny to everybody.
Universally funny.
And I think that's the way that people develop now. You kind of pigeonhole yourself, and I fear that they won't be able to have as long careers because of that.
Like the chameleon effect, kind of being able to handle yourself wherever you are.
There's safe spaces in comedy now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Interesting.
most of comedy is not a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a landmine.
Yeah.
House of Trash, Twitter's wonderful, wants to know, what is it like to be old?
It's not the best. What's weird is and I could see where there's just, your knees aren't as great. You can't just jump off of things anymore.
Yeah, I've learned that having an injury as an adult, it has so much shame to it. It's so embarrassing to, show up with like your foot in a boot or something like that. There's just it's not like when you're 10 years old and you play soccer and everyone's got crutches somewhere.
Right, exactly.
But like as an adult, it's like very embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't feel it. My eyes aren't great. My hair's going. Like those little vanity things are weird. I'm still like strong. Like I can physically do those kind of things, but you could just see it coming. And you could just see it coming. It's like all starting to happen. And you definitely starting to understand why people who are much older are like, they almost talk to you like they're a young person trapped in this broken down body. That seems like, oh yeah, that's how it's going to go. Because I literally if I talk to an 18-year-old comedian, I don't see them as older than me.
Right.
I don't. I'd see them. My wife was always asking, so how old is so-and-so? I have no idea. I literally don't have, I've never thought of it, and I don't think about it. And I do think that whoever I'm talking to, I think I'm them.
Yeah. But that goes to your point of you being able to blend your comedy to whomever, you being able to assimilate to the people around you. Makes sense.
Until you can't see the shampoo, if it's the shampoo or the lotion in the hotel room, and you're like, oh, maybe I'm not 18.
That's a fun thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
Rapunzarello wants to know, what are your favorite kind of chips?
Oh man, I would say right now it's kettle chips, salt and vinegar.
Oh,
but it's a weird one,
What's
which
that?
I just got turned on to, which I don't. It's almost embarrassing to say I like it. Is kettle chips, pickle chips?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
You
those.
are?
Yeah, big fan. I like anything with the pickle flavor, the briny, all of it. Yeah.
It's a little weird to say out loud.
It is kind of gross, but
I love 'em.
it's really addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, but also salt and vinegar, I think, could be gross if you think about it. You're like, you're just eating vinegar in crunchy form right now.
It is weird.
But now we've just taken a different type of vinegar and put it on a chip.
But there's something worse about seeing a pickle on the bag.
Yeah, there's something a little jarring about seeing that. Catherine wants to know favorite childhood memory and favorite job memory.
Oh, God.
What sort of jobs did you have before stand-up?
Oh, I had lots of jobs. I cut lawns. I worked as a busboy. I worked in factory.
You did it all.
Yeah, I did a lot of every weird little odd job. I liked when I was young. I liked my favorite moments were when I was supposed to be working and I would be getting out of it. Like I worked for a car company and I found like if you pull the boxes out in the warehouse, you could climb behind the box and sleep back there. Or like if you just pretended to cut the lawn, you could just like take a nap in the
Wait, how do you
backyard.
pretend to cut the lawn?
You just start it up, and
Oh.
you're working for an old lady, and you tell her,
Yeah,
"See you
she's not
next
watching.
week."
Yeah, there you go. She won't know the difference.
Yeah, I always like getting out of work for sure.
That's great.
Childhood memory? I don't know. There's so many.
There's so much.
I liked sleepovers when you were told they were going to kill you if you laughed and if you were noisy anymore.
What?
If you're having a sleepover, they're like, get to bed.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
2
yeah.
o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And you and your friend just cannot stop laughing.
Yeah.
Those moments were pretty great.
Pure giggle fits.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic. Have you tried having teenage daughters to assimilate to like what they like and are into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a difficult task, or do you find that it's more interesting than difficult?
It's kind of it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Because when you're young,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to ask what the cool music is.
Right.
You never look at a list.
No.
You never look like it just hits. You just live it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it gets to you when you're young, friends, and but you
Right.
know exactly what's good and what's. So I just keep asking them, like, do we like her? Like if something comes on, it's like, do we like this?
Well, I feel like you have built-in resources for your material sometimes to just fact check things.
No,
or like
absolutely.
get the temperature of pop culture about things.
Yeah, but there's a lot of it that's really just unknowable.
Yeah.
And it depends, like their tastes are different too. She was watching The Bachelor the other night.
Yeah.
And I was there watching it with her, just want to be in the room with her.
Right.
And I'm just mocking it. And she's like, you can't do this. You can't say you want to be with me and then rip apart the show that I am enjoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're right.
You can't yuck my yum right now. How dare you?
Yeah.
But The Bachelor, I think, is one. No offense to your daughter, that is worthy of making fun of.
Oh my God.
I haven't gotten into this season because it hurts my heart.
What a horror show. What are just as women, I feel like. What do you come on? No.
They're doing their best. They're doing their best.
Everything turns into Housewives, and they do the after show, and they're all just awful to each other.
I love Housewives. It's fascinating to me. Bachelor makes me a little cringy. I think I like the Housewives because they're, at least when I started watching, they were, an echelon above me. So I didn't feel as connected. So it was more interesting to watch. But when I watch like The Bachelor, I'm like, these are peers in a way.
Right.
And so there's something inherently sad about what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
And now Housewives make me sad, but still fully entertaining.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you can't read too much into it. You just got to go with the flow.
Yeah.
And just,
They're
I
choosing
can't
to
be
be
like,
there.
oh, this is just horrible for my
young
women to see. And they get it.
Yeah.
They know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heather wants to know, how nerve-wracking is it to tape a Netflix special?
It's pretty nerve-wracking. The whole goal of when you're shooting a special is to make it as close to just a live experience that you've been doing on tour all year.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden there's cameras and makeup and all this other stuff going around it, and the audience is more nervous, and it's a little more heightened, so you have to kind of temper it. It's pretty. So I would say it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
But each one gets a little easier.
It feels like you're hosting your own party, kind of, and like making sure everyone is having a good time.
Yeah, like there's nothing better than the next show after that night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there's no pressure, and the audience is just there to have fun. They're not there to make your taping go well.
Right. Oh yeah, because they're there to support you,
Yeah.
and they want you to succeed. So there's a lot of just like hope in the air.
Yeah, don't blow it.
Favorite wait moment? Diana wants to know.
Oh, I got to guest host.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which was pretty great.
How was that?
I've always liked that show. The whole thing is great. Peter Segal is great. Paula Poundstone, who's like the legend. She's just amazing. And then I got to guest host it.
Cool.
And with her on the panel and stuff. And it's a very rare thing. Like not a lot of people got to do it. Like Tom Hanks did it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was
company.
that was the moment so far. I love doing it. I think I have 2 more coming up this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, before the summer.
Very cool. Okay, this is our last question. Becca wants to know, what's the best quality about the last person you texted?
What's the best quality of the last person I texted?
Or the last person you could remember, I guess, that you text. You don't have to pull out your phone and look at all that.
No, I got him in my head.
Oh, okay. I have a perfect memory of every text I've ever sent.
Yeah. It actually was my friend Joanne, who works at Netflix.
Oh.
And we were just texting about the special. And the best thing about her is she's this great person who was at Comedy Central for years and is at Netflix now, and she was very involved with it and was a good friend for all this time. I would have to say that she is a very truthful, loyal person. Like,
that's very nice.
Yeah, like in this business, it's very easy to be put in positions where maybe you let friendships slide, and she is the opposite of that.
Well, what a lovely quality.
Yeah, it is.
A great quality,
and rare.
in fact.
Yeah.
And so good to hear that those people are in your life.
They exist. They're around.
Tom, thank you for being here. Before we wrap everything up, every guest that's on the podcast gets a personalized fortune cookie.
Personalized?
From us to you.
Oh.
You obviously don't have to eat it, but there is a fortune in there that is...
Can I open it now?
Of course. Yeah, it's buried deep.
Wow, it's really in there. It's either really long. Oh, it's really long. Oh wow, look at that. Should I read it? Would you like to hear it?
Absolutely.
Papa ... question mark. Papa, is that you? Papa saved me from this cookie. Papa? Oh shit. Sorry. Wrong guy.
Wow.
Papa, can you hear me?
Yeah, you must get that all the time, constantly.
There's a lot of papas out there. This is a very treat.
Tom, where can people find you, the special, everything that you're up to if they don't know?
Go to tompapa.com.
Okay.
That has links to the new book, to the bread videos, to the special, to the tour. It's all right there.
Everything. And you'll be touring for the next couple months, right?
Instagram, all that stuff. It's all Tom Papa, P-A-P-A.
Great.
Yeah, I'm touring heavy till the summer.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you guys go out and check him out on the road and go watch the Netflix special. It's out now. Everyone can watch it. I loved it. It will make you feel better because you take a lot of the pressure off of everyone.
It's good.
In existing in this world.
Oh, and my book is coming out in May.
Oh, your book.
You're Doing Great and Other Reasons to Stay Alive.
I mean, we all need that right now.
Right now.
But can people pre-order now?
They can.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Go check that out, everyone. Thank you again for being here.
You're the best.
Good luck on your travels.
Thank you very much.
Fingers crossed.
I'll give you updates.
Please. I'll check your Twitter. We'll see you guys next time on Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Bye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep.
With Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer Melissa D. Montz, edited by Shireen Lani Yunus, post-production sound by Chris Henry, and an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music. Meet Lightbox lab-grown diamonds. They hacked a billion-year process to grow stunning lab-grown diamond stones in about 2 weeks, and they're some of the highest quality stones that exist. They're always near colorless, always VS clarity, always a very good cut, and always $800 per carat. They come in white, blush pink, and soft blue. It's beauty meets brains. Go to lightboxjewelry.com/grace and use code GRACE for $25 off.
Not too deep.
BetterHelp Online Counseling offers licensed counselors who specialize in issues including depression, anxiety, complicated relationships, grief, trauma, and more. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions with your therapist, plus securely exchange unlimited messages. Get professional help when you want it, wherever it's most convenient. And you beautiful listeners will get 10% off your first month with the discount code GRACE. That's betterhelp.com/grace.